everybody. I'm Sarah, as you know, from the Sarah and Chami show. On this channel right now, I'm going to introduce my favorite friend, Buddy, my snuggler. I'm going to read you his book and his life story. Okay, let's start now. Drummond Island Special Author. In the spring day, a mother moves her baby. One day, a mother decided to move her babies to a safer place. The baby otters called kits. The little kits jumped on their mother's back. When they were crossing a country road when a car came along. It scared the mommy otter. In her haste to cross the road, one of the little tiny otters fell off her back. People nearby farmhouse saw what happened. Days went by, didn't return. The farm family was worried about the little animal called the Department of Natural Resources. In early fall, Eno drove Oscar to National Wild. They came at once and placed the otter with a man who rescued wild animals. He was called Oscar. He fed it milk from a baby bottle and yolks mixed in with milk. Later, egg yolks mixed with milk. In early fall, Eno drove Oscar to the Century National Wildlife Refuge of Michigan's Schoolcraft Country. It was considered ideal for the home for Oscar. But he had other plans. He wandered along connecting rivers and streams for many days. Weeks later, two men were fishing in Lease country. They must have reminded Oscar of his friend Eno. He'd been swimming around their boat. Once the men said, "We'll never catch fish. This otter's swimming around us. Let's go home." The fishermen were ready to leave and putting the last bit of gear in the car. Oscar jumped in the car and wouldn't get out. He opened his mouth and showed his teeth. The men decided to take Oscar to a friend's house at Mackinac Country. Oscar enjoyed his ride in the car. The fishermen arrived at the a house on the lake and realized there was something in the car for him. He opened the door, and much to his surprise, an otter jumped out, headed for the lake. Oscar quickly accepted the lake as his new home. He roamed freely around the lake, but he visited Andrew and Russ regularly. Puzzled yet pleased with others, friendless, do not knowing but had been named Oscar. Andrew gave it a new name, Buddy. Buddy remained in the lake for the rest of the fall and all the rest and all the winter. Then he realized he loved hot dogs. What? When Andrea was jogging, went jogging, Buddy jogged beside her. He liked to ride in the car and stick his head out the window. Just like Angela's dog. Jumping on the hot tub was another favorite prank. Buddy tried to get on the school bus with Carrie. When they wouldn't let him, he'd run down the road after it. Having to give up, he'd return to the lake and play with the muskrat that lived there. In the winter, he often was seen sliding down snowbanks and hills. Toward the end of winter, a producer of outdoor television program learned about the otter and paid Russ and Andrea a visit. They filmed Oscar before. They were released after seeing Buddy, who was convinced they were the same. Returned to Eno and Ukraine. It was the same otter he'd had raised. By spring, Buddy's pesky behavior became a problem. Andrea called the Department of Natural Resources with their consent, but Buddy was driven to a resort with a small zoo in the German island Chippewa country, the eastern of the Upper Peninsula. Steve picked Buddy up that day. He was surprised when Buddy jumped in the truck for a trip. Steve didn't know Buddy was a seasoned traveler. The zoo also had a trail of black bears and a bull elk. Buddy's new home was 2 ponds connected by a stream. Steve put fish in the ponds for Buddy to eat. Buddy enjoyed living in the zoo and part of the resort. At a lodge, he'd been seen climbing the end of the table, sleeping at one of the beds, and swimming in the bathroom tub. Amused, the guests went into dining room and demanded food. He even participated at an annual 5K race sponsored by the resort, running along with the runners. Steven even took Buddy in the truck and to get him ice cream. Buddy loved ice cream. One day, Buddy was sniffing at reach in the hand of a guest who was at the resort and bit her thumb. Because of Buddy's was naughty, Steve called the veterinarian who took care of told Steve to put Buddy in a pen for a few days. Buddy didn't like being in a pen. When Dr. Bennett thought Buddy learned a lesson, it would be a good otter who let him out. Buddy was soon to his old tricks. Otters known to travel. Buddy traveled the woods and found a lake view resort. Curious, Buddy checked in out of everything the tourists laughed outside. Especially he liked ice chests. He looked to see what they had inside. And maybe a tasty fish or two. He opened buckets and mushed them under. He got into boats and played in them. The owner of the Lakeview Resort put cardboard down while working on his car. Buddy lay down beside the cardboard. Moving into the Marina Resort, Buddy found Lynn and Lisa play, call Buddy to go swimming, and he would always come running wherever they was. The grandma would put a blanket under the boat for Buddy to sleep on. Lynn and Lisa walks over terminal shore cover and crayfish for Buddy to snack on. They wore old tennis shoes in the water because Buddy not only nibbled on crayfish, she nibbled on their toes. One day, the road workers was using a picnic table for their lunch break. Buddy surprised them and jumped on the table. Then they ran away and left their sandwiches. Buddy ate them, but he didn't like their coffee. Let's see what happens next. Buddy's next adventure was in the German motel. Tootie left her door open to get some supplies. Going back with clean sheets, he flipped the blankets and found, much to her shock and surprise, an otter sleeping under the covers. Tootie screamed and ran outside. Buddy went out and poked his face between the mini blinds, looking to see what was all the fuss about. Buddy continued traveling out in the water. Eventually, he was on Yak Haven. One day, the sailboat was at the dock. Gay was filling the gas tank with fuel. Buddy took an opportunity to climb up the boat, much to his surprise of those on board. Fortunately, Buddy though mischievous, was well mannered, and came out when he was called. He was at Yak Haven several days, trolling pranks. Danny decided to take him to Winter's Cove. Maybe he'd like the island's south side. Buddy jumped on Danny's truck and enjoyed the ride. Sat on the seat, looked out the window. Awesomely, Benny reached over and patting Buddy on his head and thinking, this is the last time I'll ever see Buddy. But it didn't take Buddy long to get back on Yak Haven. That's all I can do for today. I'll read the next part in a little bit. Goodbye. Okay, I'll read some more. Water wasn't necessary. Buddy left the shore and traveled inland to a Bear Track restaurant. He even knew how to open the back door. What? A couple was sitting at a table eating oatmeal and toast. Buddy jumped on the table, began eating their oatmeal. Tom and Charlie pushed the cheese over his back and sat watching in a still shock as Buddy finished their oatmeal and moved on to their toast. Nancy, the owner, put a crate over Buddy and called Pat to help get Buddy outside. Continuing to travel inland, Buddy stopped to see Shelby and Junior. Shelby said, "Look out the window one day." There was, and Junior brought a wash tub filled with minnows. Buddy really enjoyed diving in the tub, gobbling up the fish. He loved playing with their friendly dog, who chasing each other around, exchanging friendly nips. I'll make a part 2 if I need to because I need to go. Okay, I'll do another part. Okay, I'll do it to part 2. How's that do? Are you happy?